What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Kuempel with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. I've got a very special guest, zooming in all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. His name is James Perdue. He is the professor of perseverance. James, thank you so much for joining us today. Please introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about your background.
Well, just a little bit one of them persons that growing up felt like I was a, what do you want to call, invincible, that nothing was going to stop me. And I wanted to be a professional athlete, a professional baseball player. I got to play one college game. The very next day, a bunch of people were out on the campus playing football. Now, no helmets, no pads, nothing protective, but we were playing tackle. And a guy hit me when I wasn't ready and broke my neck on that day. And so that's what led me where I'm at today.
Wow, that's got to be a tough thing to a tough pill to swallow at that point in your life. So why don't you tell us like how you overcame that and to what brought you to where you are today?
And it was definitely a bitter pill to swallow because of wanting to be this professional athlete. My father died when I was 16, so I had to grow up and be the man of the family. So I was hoping with becoming a professional, I can help take care of my mom, take care of my brothers, give my mom this new house, new cars and stuff like that, take care of my brothers. You know, and I tell people, say, you know, you used to hear those things called a mail order bride. I was going to get my mother a mail order groom, you know, to help take care of her some since my father passed away. And so, yeah, so when I was that day when the guy hit me, I scored a touchdown. And when I turned towards everyone, I saw something on the right side of my peripheral vision. I don't know what it was. I just saw, I felt contact about shoulder high, and then I heard a loud pop. And both of us went to the ground. And on that day, one of us returned to her feet. And I'll give you a hint, it wasn't me.
Yeah. Wow. That's got to be really, really hard. I mean, I'm not an athlete as far as group sports are concerned, but I'm a bodybuilder. So I would have, knock on wood, I would have a really hard time with that. But you've definitely overcome, and you are a shining example of what perseverance and overcoming is all about. So why don't you talk to us about the ABCs of overcoming adversities? Because I see that that's part of your bio. Let's hear a little bit more about that.
The ABCs, it took me, of course, after getting into, you know, hearing that I would never walk again, possibly not move from my neck down. And at the age of 19, the doctors, physicians talked to my mom and brothers and advised to put me in a nursing home at the age of 19. But thankfully, we were hard-headed. And I guess maybe that invincibility that I thought I was made us do things our way. And so we formed our own physical therapy and did what we could to get as strong as I could and be independent as possible. And so during that time, I became an award-winning educator, coached a state championship team in basketball, received a doctoral degree, and so, you know, did all that. But what had happened with the ABCs, it took me a while to figure this out, but step by step is what it came to. A was meant to be accept your adversity. Finally, when you accept what's going on in your life, you don't have to like it. You don't have to love it. You can spit at it and hate it all you want to, but you finally have to accept this is the way life is going to be. Now we've accepted it. Now let's go to B. Let's begin battling. And how do we battle? Whatever we're going through, in my case, spinal cord injury, I needed to research spinal cords, injuries, see what happens, talk to people with spinal cord injuries, check with other organization groups, rehabs, and see what I needed to do to make things better. So I began my battle by exploring and finding best information as possible to help me get through this. And then C, I decided it was now you got the education. Now let's go in and conquer the challenge.
Yeah.
All right. Now we got all what we need, and now let's full speed ahead and conquer the challenge as best of our ability.
Wow, that you are, so regardless of that setback early on in life, you have been a powerhouse. Like you're driving forward. You are like you're a force to be reckoned with. So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. So when you decided to overcome those challenges of how the changes that came into your life, like what was the first, like what did that look like for you, and how did you get to a place where you were just like in your head, like that's it, I'm not going to let this defeat me, I'm going for this, that, X, Y, and Z?
And the XYZ again is ABC. And so, hey, like, yeah, twist it for
Yeah,
you.
I know,
ABC,
but you can't twist it around. You got to talk about the, like, how you just decided, like, yes, I get that. And that's a great roadmap for people that aren't able to get there, and to bring them back, to keep them on track, to train their mind not to go into a negative place. But for you, there had to be a defining moment when you created this ABCs, and you said, you know what, that's it. Regardless of the circumstance, I am going to push forward, and I'm going to live my best life.
the defining moment came the day that I really accepted my adversities. Okay. All right, accepted spinal cord injury, which was the same day that I lied to my family and lied to myself. What had happened is the first 5 years of my injury, I went to 18 different rehabs trying to find that cure to walk. That's how bad I want to get up. I know I never played baseball again, right, just to get up and walk. And then going, a lot of them are one-day interviews, going to Knoxville for a one-day evaluation, go to Atlanta, Shepherds for a one-day evaluation, driving all the way to Pennsylvania for a one-day evaluation. And so a lot of them one-day evaluation, but my project I spent 3 months with. But after 5 years, I decided, and told my family again, lied to them, lied to myself at that time, that not that I'm quitting, trying to walk again, but I need to put it on the back burner, because if I'm going to have a good life, I need to get some type of education, something that's going to help me get a job, something that's going to get me out in the community. And so now it's time to put it on the back burner. Again, when I tell people I've lied to them, I never went to another rehab after that. Not that I wasn't planning on it, sure, but it never came across anymore. And so I probably didn't lie to everybody at the moment. Yeah. But years later, it ended up being a lie. Yeah. So, but once I really woke up to it and decided, we got to accept this and move on and go and get the best life as better as possible. I didn't know a lot of people in wheelchairs that were working and stuff. So that's why I figured I need to go get an education, sure, and get a degree. So
you didn't just get an education. You got a PhD, and you went above just getting an education. How long did that take you to achieve all that? I got my
associates, bachelor's, and I tell people it took me over 8 years to get a 2-year degree when I first, because I would go a couple of semesters and quit and go another couple of semesters. That's in that first 5 years. I was also looking for those 18 rehab. Finally, I decided to wake up and go. I finally finished the 2-year degree in 1 year. Then I went and got the other 2 years done in 2.5 years. And then got my master's done. It's a 2-year program, got it done in 1 year. Wow. And then I didn't go back to like 14 years later. I got my doctoral degree and got it done in 3.5, I think. That's amazing. I tell people, said if I wouldn't have broke my neck, I would have never graduated in the first place, because my focus was so much on the sport. Yeah. So I only tell people I went to college for 3 reasons. 1, hope to get drafted. 2, to party. And 3, meet all the women I could meet. Had no intentions of ever graduating.
Do you think that a lot of athletes have that same mentality?
I think the ones that they think have a good shot of getting drafted to go pro, I think so. For the ones that are in reality, that know I'm pretty good, I'm decent, I probably not get drafted, they probably do have the mindset to finish their degree. But the ones that are the more of elite, I think they have that, because there's too many of them, especially in college. They'll go 1 year and get out of it and go pro. So I think it's their mindset is.
I think just like an artist being an athlete, I think it's a little bit harder to really dial that intellectual side of you into study. I mean, I know that I personally struggle with that. I'm more hands-on than book learning. I mean, I love to read. When I get a good book and I can focus in on it, I can read it, no problem. But when I get distracted easily, I mean, I almost would think I have a little bit of ADD when it comes to that. So, I mean, that's actually amazing. I'm a little jealous.
No, We talked about this a minute ago before we got started. It's a nice piece of paper sitting on the wall. It's that, you know, other than that, I mean, it gave me something to do. I was teaching and coaching, and I was planning to advance my career to get out of I was teaching seventh graders, and I was ready to move on in life. And so that's why I went to get my doctorate. A friend of mine was working on his. He kept saying, James, you get your doctorate. James, I go, no, no, no. And finally, some other things happened. And I said, yep, I'm getting this and get out of this situation and go teach somewhere else.
Tell us about working with seventh graders, because teenagers are a pain in the butt.
Teenagers can be, exactly. And, you know, they're still trying to explore, trying to learn themselves, trying to find their group to fit in. And yeah, first 30 seconds, they're as good as could be. Next 30 seconds, man, you want to pitch them out the window. But then they turn around 45 seconds later and they're back to their good mood again. So you just have to make them understand that you still care for them, and whatever they do to that day, you can't harvest it and keep it in. You just, the next new day, give them a new chance and go from there. You would be amazed with some of the ones that we called troubled kids that I've seen in the community. After I got out of teaching, I've seen them in our community, and they'll come up and tell me, thank you for not giving up on me. Oh. And I told them, say, you know, not all of us in the right mentality, just like anything we're going through. Not all of us in the same mentality to do what's going on. Some have still got to grow and mature. And I said, I would tell their parents, because they would go, I can't understand why their grades are where they're at. I can't understand. I said, they're smart. Don't get me wrong. And he said, how can you say that with this grade? I said, I guarantee you, when they're 16 and they got to go pass that driver's license test, they'll know that book from front to back. So they get that driver's license to be able to go drive with their friends.
Oh, yeah.
I said, what the problem is they're not interested in what we're doing. Mm-hmm. I said, but when they figure out whether it's going to be a mechanic, plumber, electrician, or go to school to be a rocket scientist, so once they finally realize what they want to do, they'll give all full force to be able to get that, to be able to do it.
They'll dial it in. So I'm the oldest of 5. So I have 2 sisters and 2 brothers underneath me. And yeah, teenage years were rough being the oldest. And so I know that roller coaster ride that you go on with. I mean, I'm not innocent. I mean, I was a teenager, obviously. You know, I'm sure I put my parents through the same thing. But, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, hey, I was the oldest. So I just know. But yes, when they dial in, when they finally figure out what they want, I feel like the black sheep or the troublemakers or, you know, whatever, they tend to really do great things in life.
And what's the old saying? People with C's get degrees. You know, there's a lot of people, there's a vast, I don't know the outstanding number percentage, but I talked with one teacher that it was called a search program. It was for people that straight A students, gifted and everything. And she gave me a number, this is years ago, about how many of these straight A students don't finish their college degrees because they think they're better than the professor, or they already know this, why should I be taking it? And then she gave me even a number of how many are homeless because I'm so smart, I shouldn't start off at a minimum wage job. I should already start off making $100 an hour. And so they become homeless.
Wow, that's some interesting information I've never heard before. So I just learned something new. There's one of these questions on here. You got some great questions actually, but I know that I personally, as much of a positive person that I am, that I sometimes struggle to stay positive because life happens, shit happens, excuse my language. Mm-hmm. And you have to learn how to adapt to those situations and be able to stay positive. So what do you do and how do you stay positive in your life?
A friend, and again, don't get me wrong, like you said, life happens and I've gone downhill as much as everybody else. It just a short 12 years ago, I attempted suicide. Here I am, you know, getting a doctorate degree, coached a state championship team. I've been coach of the year, educator of the year, and went downhill, attempted suicide 3 times in 3 days. That's how bad I wanted out. And so don't get me wrong. I've been down there. I've been down the road. So what had happens, of course, I tell people, I try to lighten the mood when I tell them the suicide. I said, sure, you know, when you live through a suicide attempt, they make you see a psychiatrist or a psychologist like that. And so that psychologist meeting with him advised me, said, you know, you've got a story, you need to get out and tell people. So that's what got me into my professional speaking, doing my YouTube now, podcasting, to get out and get a positive word out. A friend of mine, and this is a great thing, a friend of mine, her name's Jan, her father told her it's okay to visit Peteyville, but it's not okay to move in.
Right.
So I think when we get a little depressed, no, we get so severe where we're thinking suicide attempted, we need to go get help. All right. But we're going to get down and out. I think it's okay because we reflect back on how far we have really come in life. Sure. And how far we have really grown and how much we have really gained in life. And then it puts us back on that positive road again.
Wow. I love it. That was really good. I'm almost bringing me to tears a little bit. Share 3 life lessons. That's a good one.
Life lesson 1, I think we're here to serve people. I think we should help whenever possible. All right. You know, we can't do everything. Don't cut yourself so thin that you can't help yourself, because if you can't help yourself, you're not helping anyone. Yeah. So I think whenever possible, I mean, if like I'm in a wheelchair, so I can't mow someone's yard, but that doesn't mean I can't find someone that needs a yard mowed and send them over there to help the other person.
Right.
All right. I'm also a believer of life lesson number 2. We don't have to spend a lot of money to help people. All right. For example, I was driving down the road one day, and I'm in a wheelchair, had a friend with me, and somebody was cleaning their garage out, and I saw a lawnmower by the road. Somebody needs a lawnmower, right? And so I said, hey, man, get that lawnmower, put it in the trunk of my car. And my brother lived down the road, so I was going to drop it off to him. And he gets out, and the guy hollers to my friend and says, it doesn't work. He goes, James, he said it doesn't work. I said, we just put it back here anyway. So you're ready to put it up there. The guy says, I said it don't run. I said, just put it in there. Said, we can always throw the motor away and use the frame from another one tore up. Sure. So we took it to my brother's, and my brother, we got over there and looking at it, and he's pulling on the string and everything, the coil. And then we got over there. He opens up the gas tank, pours gas in, and pulled it 3 times. We gave it to someone. They used it for 3 years. It didn't run because the dude didn't put gas in it. All right. That's that movie Sling Blade, right? Sling Blade, he says, all it needs some gasoline. Like, yeah.
Oh my God.
We gave the lawnmower to somebody that could use it. They used it for 3 years before it finally tore up. Yeah. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. There's life lesson number 2 to help somebody, especially when income tax time comes. Yeah. People want to upgrade their TV, upgrade their microwave, upgrade something, and they'll put something out by the road that still works. Collect it.
Did you ever tell your neighbor? You ever tell them, or whoever that was, that all you have to do is put some gas in it?
No, I didn't even go back down there. But it would have been funny. Yeah, man, you're right. It didn't work. That without gasoline.
That should be your new slogan here. Learn my ABCs and put some gas in it.
There you go. Keep some gas in the tank. That's right. So, and then 3rd lesson, hey, stay positive. We're going to see, we're going to go through everything. I tell people, what's the other thing? You can't have a rainbow without the storm. You can't have whatever. And I tell people, sometimes we have to walk through that cow shit to be able to get to the rose garden, the fertilizer to get to it. And you're going to realize one day when you see the light at the end of the tunnel and it's not a freight train coming, you're in great shape.
Amen. Woo! Love that. So in the last 12 years, what do you feel is one of your greatest accomplishments after everything that you've done so far?
Well, other people may say education stuff. Nah, again, I think it's serving others. Sadly to say, I got this ball player that I coached years ago, and he's in prison now. Oh. And he got caught up selling dope and stuff, and he's got a 17-year sentence. And so I don't want him to think that all his friends have left him, abandoned him. And so I sent him one of my books at Christmas time for him to read my book. And then I'll send him another one after he gets time, and just correspond writing to let him know that not everybody's abandoned him. We all make mistakes, and, let's learn from it and have a better life when you get out.
You just filled my heart with so much joy. That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Before we start wrapping things up, is there any last words, or can you plug where people can get in touch with you, or if they want to work with you, or whatever that is, that where can they find you?
All right. Main thing I tell people, go ahead and Google Professor of Perseverance. That's Professor of Perseverance. You'll get my website, professorofperseverance.com, Facebook, Perseverance, Professor of Perseverance. You also, my podcast, Professor of Perseverance Podcast, where I interview people who have going through tragedies and how they overcome their, their challenges as well. So who I interview. So if you go through them, through the Professor of Perseverance, Google, you'll find me. And last thing I would say that we're all going through something. Some of it's not as difficult or as hard as the others.
Yeah.
But don't discount how small or how big, or don't compare your challenge against someone else. But I believe we go through some challenges, difficulty, so we can learn how strong we really are. So
boom, I got fireworks going on. Yeah, you need to have fireworks going off behind you. That was some.
There you go. Boom. There we go.
Some really good shit. Excuse my language, but
no, it's good.
I got a little bit of a potty mouth. Sorry.
Hey, it's your podcast on your potty, right?
Oh, that's right, man. You are incredible. You are awesome. I would love to have you back anytime, James. But that was just so rewarding, so inspiring. You've got an incredible story, and I can't wait to share it with the world, and keep doing what you're doing, because you telling your story gives someone the courage to deal with theirs and tell theirs, and let it loose so they can feel free. Kind of, living label free.
There we go. Well, thank you for having me here and to give me this opportunity. You've been an awesome host as well.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, you guys, this is your host, Deanna Kuempel with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share, and I'll be back very soon with more dynamic guests.